A highlight for me though was American Fiction. This was such a delight to watch. I'm glad I watched it. I saw the trailer months and months and months ago, and it had one of the best jokes in a trailer I've seen in a while. And since then, I was like, I got to see this movie. It's been a while since a trailer made me laugh, and this is a movie that I haven't seen a movie in a very long time that consistently had strong jokes from beginning to end. Like from the very beginning to the very end, there's humor throughout the entire movie, and it's all good. And it's funny, it's interesting, and there's no like third act where it gets all serious and over dramatic or really emotional, like a lot of comedies tend to do. A lot of comedies these days forget their comedies, and this isn't even a straight comedy, but there's enough comedy in it that I can recommend people see it for that fact alone. I think you'll laugh the entire way through. I think these are the kind of movies I think that need to be made for like black culture. Like when people when people say annoying stuff and they're like, oh, why, blah, 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 and they complain about that kind of stuff. This is the kind of movie that needs to be made. This is like an interesting point of view. It has an interesting perspective. And it's also, even though it's kind of based upon, well, I should tell you what it's about. It's about a black writer who has typically, he hasn't really burst through and had a runaway hit. He's not super successful or not successful. He's kind of in the middle. He hasn't had that big breakout moment, it seems, and he is frustrated with the world by audiences kind of latching onto low-hanging fruit. So he goes to this book reading and sees this other black writer who writes a very stereotypical black story where it's just like, just using a lot of tropes that you might be used to. And it's kind of like what they phrase it as like what white people would want to see a black story be like. It's like guns and drugs and abandoned babies, just the typical stuff. And people applaud and the book is just kind of trash. It's low hanging fruit. It's just easy. It's easy work, but it's getting all the praise, and it's getting all the praise by all the people in the industry in the movie, where it's like, it's all these white people that want to seem like they're really, good. They're like, oh yeah, we love black culture, and they're really praising this work, but it's actually not good. It's actually not a good representation of what a story could be from a black author. And so this guy, as a joke, he ghost writes. He writes a book as a joke where he tries to make it as terrible as he possibly can, using every trope as possible, just as a joke. And the book ends up becoming super famous. It blows up, and everyone wants to buy. They're offering him like $750,000. They want a movie deal. They want all this stuff. And now he's torn. He's like, well, now I can't, like, no one, he doesn't want to be associated with this book. So because he's ghostwritten it under a different name, but he has to do interviews and stuff. And so he does like phone interviews where he's like creating a character, and it's just a really funny, I thought it was a really funny setup for a movie. And I think, going back to my original point, I think these are when there's a lot of people that are always like, oh, I don't know. Even I see them. I see movies that do like, there are even things like Ghostbusters. It's like, oh, let's do Ghostbusters, but with all women. Let's do this movie, but with a black person. And it's like, those are not genuine. Those are not, in my opinion, that's why people get upset. And then people get upset about people being upset. They're like, oh, you're racist if you don't like that. Or you're a misogynist if you don't like that. It's like, no, those people, I mean, some of them might be, but some of them have a point where it's like, it's not, just because you're telling a story, just because you're doing Cinderella, but now with a Asian person, it's like, that's not actually doing Asian people any good. What we should be doing is embracing true, genuine stories told through the perspective of an Asian person, like this movie. This is a black perspective movie, and it's told through a lens in that it's almost meta in a sense, but these are the kind of movies that we should be praising. Like, this is a great movie, and it's also relatable. Like, even I'm not a black writer, but it's done in a way that you can relate to it on any level. I related to it in my screenplays where I'm like, you've sometimes got to write, there's the easy jobs where you can write the low hanging fruit stuff, the action movies. And then there's the stuff that is more artistic and more meaningful for you. So there's little nuggets that I could even relate to. And I hate using the word important, but this is the kind of movie that I think is more important. And I don't think it got Oscar wins, so it is out there, but I don't feel like the average person is even knows this movie really exists. Kind of like, I would rather people celebrate this movie over something like Black Panther or even like Get Out. Like, I think American Fiction is what we should be being like, see, like, this is what we need. This was a fresh take. This is a fresh, cool idea, or at least it was done well. It was funny. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It's, I think if you watch it, you'll have a good time. It's on Amazon Prime right now. So yeah, American Fiction. I think the performances are good. There's good characters throughout the whole thing and some good subplots and the overall. Hey, thanks for listening to this clip of my podcast. I publish new episodes on the last Friday of every month at 12:45 p.m. PST for all premium members of my Patreon. My name is Cooper Bebo. I'm an actor, writer, and producer of film, television, and video games. Head to patreon.com/CooperBebo. You can sign up for free, get access to my blog, or you can toss me a few dollars if you want to support me and get special bonuses like this very podcast, or you can subscribe to my YouTube. You'll continue to get free clips and a brand new video every single Wednesday. So whether you like to watch, listen, or read, I've got something for everyone. I've also got a video game called Billy Saves the World. Please check that out on Steam right now. I've got movie projects in the works. I update all of that stuff in Discord all of the time. Again, the basic channels are free to join. Just head to patreon.com/CooperBebo to get access. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next clip.